Hey, man.
Yo.
So you want to learn about the Hermetic Principles, or at least, observe them?
I would love to. It's a great review.
All right, excellent. Hermetic
Let's do it.
Principles. All right, so the Hermetic Principles are kind of deep, so let's go there.
Indeed. I like these after
We are currently in the midst of a Hermetic revival, and at the heart of this return of ancient knowledge is the Seven Hermetic Principles. The Seven Hermetic Principles are laws that govern this reality. These governing principles are most well known in modern times through the book The Kabbalion. However, their origins are as obscure and ancient as the mystical figure that they are attributed to, Hermes Trismegistus. There is
Hermes Trismegistus. So just briefly, I know that he's been renamed as many different things, or this person, this entity. So I just recently got into the Hermetic Principles. I don't know much about them, honestly. I'm just watching them here to learn. I'm starting to get a rough understanding of what they are, but I find it interesting because it deals with fundamental knowledge, and that's my favorite kind of knowledge.
Yeah, I like them too because it's like a way of thinking. It's a way of framing the world and in such a way that I think can be very useful for people. So this is
and it's also vast.
I don't remember all seven, but this will be good.
It actually quantifies the universe as well, that's a bold thing to do.
Vivid dispute as to the true identity of Hermes Trismegistus. Contemporary academia believes this character to be entirely fictitious, a compilation of Hellenistic viewpoints that was compiled by what you would call an ancient think tank. While modern mystics and the more spiritually inclined alike know him to be dated way further back than the Hellenistic period, for he is the transmitter and teacher.
So, for instance, I'll just put this in there real quick. I'm from the West, right? So I hear Hellenistic, and I was raised with, Catholic morals, I guess. That my ignorance before would think of only hell. But I do realize that Hellenistic probably doesn't mean that, and it's just strange how our go-to in the West is like, oh, that must be bad because it says the word H-E-L.
It has the word, the English Hellen. It actually, it's like Greek, to make it simple, it's like basically Greek. Because interestingly, the official name of Greece, even today, is the Hellenic Republic. And in Greek, something like Helleniki Demokratia. No, I don't speak Greek, so that might have sounded really bad.
That wasn't bad. That was okay.
Yeah,
also, other notable thing I can add is I speak a little German, but the word Hella means light in German. So Hella.
That's interesting. So, I wonder if the etymology is. That's really interesting. Yeah, cool.
So I think in the West, as I try to do as I get older and learn and have more wisdom, is I try to look at like the more old fundamental things, and I find that the modern society is so quick to just say everything is mythology and stories, and I'm like, well, did you live 10,000 years ago? Were you? I mean, like, how do you know?
I would ask too that even if it were just mythology and stories, I would say, well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Because they are in this case, archetypal, powerful. They're just ways of explaining a world we didn't understand, or we understood as well as we could, given what we had at the time. So we think. So, there you go. I mean, it's all good to me, right?
I think it's really fascinating when they're like, oh, they didn't even know about this how long ago. They dig up things, and they're like, did you know this whole world of people existed? And you're like, no, I didn't.
Of ancient knowledge to the prophet Moses, if not Moses himself, for he has been affirmed by early Kabbalists as Moses. Suffice it to say that these principles, although best preserved and transmitted through the vehicle of Hermeticism, are of such a universal that they truly belong to time immemorial, for they are indeed timeless and ancient wisdom that belongs to no one school of thought. The principles are seven. First, we have the law of mentalism, then the law of correspondence, then the law of vibration, then the law of polarity. After that, we have the law of rhythm, cause and effect, and gender.
All right, so let's
then the law of vibration, then the law of polarity.
Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, Polarity. Okay.
After that, we have the law of rhythm, cause and effect, and gender.
Okay. So that is the actual principles right there. Oddly enough, little side note, I do art. I used to do a lot more, and I would draw eyeballs a lot, and things would look like this creature here often.
That's neat. That winged eye, right?
Yeah, this angel, and then my story was it's profound. It's but like I didn't realize how much I was drawing biblical angels until later. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because it was more of out of subconscious. I didn't really.
I was gonna say it's probably deep in the subconscious. Either however it got there. We were born and brought up in the West, so naturally, I guess. But yeah, it's so interesting how that manifested itself in your art.
It's strange when I draw. My typical way I draw is just like doodles at first, but really quickly it starts to turn into like advanced kind of like things, and the eyeballs emerge almost immediately. And it was just the way I go with it, and it's weird because it comes from a very subconscious kind of place,
Yeah, that's cool.
The principle of
Windows
mentalism,
to the soul, man.
The all is mind. The universe is mental. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that the all, which is the substantial reality underlying all outward manifestations and appearances, which we call the material universe, is in short, spirit. And spirit, although undefinable, is likened unto the infinite living mind. For mind and spirit are truly one and the same.
Wait, mind and spirit are truly one and the same. So what is spirit? Spirit is your inner self, like your.
That's a good question.
I mean, we can keep going.
I am familiar with these ideas. Hopefully she'll explain. My guess is it's all that is that which is conscious.
Right.
It's just sort of a guess. I've read modern interpretations that self-help a lot, so they kind of have this modern spin, for lack of better words, on these supposedly ancient Hermetic principles, and they kind of say similar things. But my guess is what she means by spirit is all that is that which is conscious, whether it's within us or around us or outside of us, depending on how you look at it.
Changeable terms to the Hermetic. Being aware of this first universal principle of mentalism can directly improve our lives by understanding that before anything gets drawn into the manifested physical outward world, it is first harnessed through the creative intelligence of the energy that we know as mind. So applying our mental faculties to our creations is...
It's kind of interesting for me as a person who does do creative things that in the West, how little money you can make with this pursuit of creativity anymore. The only way I think it is truly done anymore is if it's done on an engineering side, which is more of a UI UX kind of thing. Like just drawing pictures it might benefit you personally, but it's very difficult to make a living doing that, right? And
that's true. Yeah,
they're expressing creativity, and creativity requires a couple things. You got to be fed. You gotta be safe. You gotta have a roof over your head. There's a lot of things you have to do in order to just have the ability to take a moment and think.
Right.
And it's just like I think in Eastern cultures it seems a little more integrated. That meditation is more integrated. That is where you would do that.
This idea to me is interesting because just real quick, it's the concept of the way I interpret it. And again, I might be wrong, but the way I think about this is if I can imagine myself to be successful or to have something I want or to earn something I want to earn, then I can act that out in the world.
Yeah.
More easily. Sure. And if I keep that image in my head of, hey, this is me successful at whatever it is this is me having achieved a goal, let's say.
Sure.
I can do that. I can achieve that goal. It will require work and so forth. I think they get into this later. But,
effort. Yeah.
Effort. That's right.
Effort.
But yeah. I can't just sit and meditate on it, but it helps to have that vision.
I think
in my head.
It's something I want to practice more next year. Is like I want to dress in suits more when I go out to dinner and with people I like, care about. And just the thought. Sometimes I'll be at work or I'll just imagine like getting a custom suit and wearing it well, and it's standing straight when I walk into the restaurant I go into and just carrying myself as very much an adult, you know. And I think that's kind of what this reminds me of personally, is like that visualization is exciting to me, and like living it. People will see it off of you too when you come in with a nice suit. They're like, "Hello, like, nice to see you," and you're like,
"Oh,
nice
for sure, yeah." You'll notice people treat you a certain way sometimes. I was walking down the street in a suit once. It was kind of amusing, and the guy was upset about something, walking in the opposite direction. And he goes, "F you, businessman." You know, and I to him, I symbolized all that was unholy and wrong about the, you know, capitalist free market system, which was hilarious. But
it's so funny you put
I've
it
also
that way.
gotten the reversed. People treat you with, "Oh, sir, please, let me get the door for you."
You weren't you were basically the suit to that person.
Basically, yeah, I was the suit. That's right. I was the
how
suit.
we first draw them in to the physical world. The principle of correspondence. As above,
I tend to
so
like
below.
this one. Yeah, this
As
is
within,
interesting.
so without. As the
I've
universe,
said that myself.
so the soul. The truth.
As within, so without. I've heard of this one.
As within, so without. Yeah.
As the universe, so the soul. Okay.
The truth that is embodied within this principle is that there is always a correspondence between the laws and the phenomena of the various planes of being and life. The old Hermetic axiom ran in these words: as above, so below. As below, so above. And the grasping of this principle gives one of the means of solving many a dark paradox. Now, I personally find this law to be the most helpful when seeking clarity. What it is saying is that by us knowing our own nature, by us knowing our own mind, and by us knowing the world around us, it is reflecting what is happening and taking place in the worlds and the planes of consciousness above us. So the more we study the below, we are able to understand and comprehend the above. This is
so the best thing I can share personally with this, where I experience a lot of it, is I ride my e-bike. I listen to music I love. I've heard the songs many times over. I try to get as much dopamine I can out of these songs. I know every hit. You know, I play piano, so I understand how music theory kind of works. So I kind of know how to synchronize motion with music and thinking, especially like being outside in the wind and all that. It's epic. So like when there's moments when I do that where I kind of feel what they're talking about, and I feel like I did something good, right? Like I feel like I put something good out there with that 1 hour of exercise. It sometimes feels like 6 hours. It feels so epic because every moment is I'm on the bike. There's the speed, there's the turn, there's the decision making. I don't know. It's really awesome. That's kind of reminds me of this.
That's cool.
You know?
This reminds me of, so I've used this a lot. Again, a lot of the modern self-help gurus, for lack of better words, literature and so on, they'll say things like, you know, as within, so without, or you become what you think about most often. So, or that you're actually ways of saying it. But I really like this one because it feels like I've used it. So I've gone into meetings and thought, okay, if I imagine the meeting going well and I walk in with a degree of confidence and degree of competence, knowing that, hey, they're calling me in and asking me questions because to them, to the extent I'm their subject matter expert, they're not asking to attack me. So if I go in with the right attitude, not all the time, but most of the time, the outcome would be just that. Oh, great meeting. You did very well.
Sure.
Nice work, comrade. So on and so on, right?
It sounds like you're also open to a little bit of being spontaneous on the spot, right? You know, being malleable enough to kind of because confidence means you do kind of have to like flow with the environment and what's happening. You know?
That's right. Yeah, I'm confident enough to know I can adapt to the situation or changing moods. I can read the audience, things like that.
Yep.
And I found that this works in like social affairs, even dating. I found this an extremely helpful one. I really like this role.
It's vital to be aware of as a seeker of truth, because now we are able to tell what's happening in the cosmos and what's taking place in the higher planes of consciousness by simply observing the world around us, and most importantly, our internal landscape. The principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates.
So yeah, the interesting thing about that is if you do go on the subatomic level of an atom, that everything is moving. You know, like we're spinning on a planet. That the planet is spinning. We don't kind of think that way, but it sure is. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We're never in really. I mean, even when you sleep, you're breathing, you're moving. There's just so much happening all at the same time.
All the cells in your body doing all the things they do to keep everything running. It really is amazing. This is actually a cool one too, because I'm getting thoughts about, I think Nikola Tesla supposedly said something similar.
Yeah, 369 is the keys to the
that's
universe.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's the secret frequency of the universe, right? Was that his? Yeah, it's interesting because as we discovered later, it turns out, even to get to the quantum level and so forth, there's a lot of vibrating and movement going on. Change is the only constant in the cosmos.
Nikola Tesla is obviously a genius. He's come up with so many things, and all that work still exists because the U.S. government has all of it, and they've implemented it and used it, and probably have made a lot of patents out of it that they own. So
right.
Hopefully with this
America, right?
Hopefully with this new administration, we can start cracking down on these unlimitedly funded people who have all this brilliant information. Not just our information, but historic, Hermetic information. Like, we're talking how many thousands of years ago? Oh, tons.
This principle embodies the truth that everything is in motion, everything vibrates, and nothing is ever truly at rest.
Quick, what they just showed right there with the sand, that is the way they built the pyramids, most likely, to have anti-gravitational power of frequency to move levitating rocks and reassemble them the way they see fit. I think that has a lot to do with it. A lot.
The principle explains that the differences between different manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit result largely just from varying rates of vibration. It has been said that one who truly understands this law of vibration is one who has grasped the scepter of power.
I don't know if you've ever seen that, what they're showing on the screen right now. That's inside of a temple where that's a bulb that person is holding, and it actually has a wire that goes to a condenser. So this is electricity that they're showing.
You know, I've not seen that specifically.
See
it's
it?
interesting. Yeah,
holding an actual bulb. And that person is so much bigger.
Like a giant light bulb.
Those are the giants. Yeah. People used to be, I think, a lot taller.
So that serpentine thing inside the light bulb. That, I guess that's supposed to be like a filament. Is that?
I guess. Yeah, it's probably and vibration.
Like interesting.
We are able to understand that everything in existence is expressed through vibration.
Is that real that he sat there like that while all that electricity was just doing that? Is that real?
I can't imagine. I don't know. I'm a little doubtful. I'm not saying no for sure. I have no idea. I'm imagining that's more an artistic representation.
Yeah, but
because I can't imagine someone surviving all that.
Just sitting there casually.
Power, right?
And that there are just simply different rates of vibration, and within these different rates of vibration are entirely different realms of experience and of creation.
Interesting.
So when we know that all is truly vibration, then
so this might lend a little bit into when they say about the UFOs, they say they're interdimensional beings. So this sounds a little bit like that. It sounds like maybe ghosts. It sounds like the stuff that is unseen to our limited range of vision and sound.
Wild.
This video is getting a little long, so I think we're going to have to do a part 2. We covered 3 of them. Next, we have the principle of polarity, principle of cause and effect, and of gender. So if you like this video, definitely check out the second one. All right, buddy.
Go ahead.
Signing off.